What's up, everybody? This is Jazz. First, long time video. So, it's been an interesting year. It's been an interesting month. Trump and his administrating people, they're going to the slammers. They're doing time. So, I'm talking about two topics today. The first topic, it was a YouTuber guy named Zach. And his way of thinking of white privilege to him is a make-believe word. It does not exist. It doesn't relate to anything around United States. It's basically a word to bully white people. Now, I heard him, and if you never know what his channel is, his name is Zach. You can type him up. I try to leave his YouTuber thing below on my channel so you can look at the different contents. But me, I like to hear people talk and see what they have to say. Now, I start out what he was saying. He was saying that white privilege is basically a word to bully white people. He was saying that people need to take their own responsibility and not blame it on white people, which is true. Then he also said that the African American community need to stop having babies at the woodlock. And a lot of African American children drop out of school, high school. And he was saying that Asian people do not complain about white privilege. They just go ahead and do what they have to do. Now, he's saying Asian people are not perfect or whatever, but he is saying that a lot of them don't have a bunch of babies at the woodlock, and a lot of them don't drop out of high school. They pretty much work hard, study hard, and get to the ladder where they need to be to stay comfortable. And he felt like on the Democrat side that Democrats have brainwashed people to believe of white privilege. That it's just a make-up thing to keep minorities in a bubble so they can hate on white people. That's what he believes in. Now, I got an issue with what he's saying about white privilege. And let's be honest, he was just putting a sugarcoat on the topic. He didn't went deeper in the root of the situation of white privilege. To this day, white privilege still exists. And it has been for centuries. And put it this way, if white privilege never existed, then I guarantee you a lot of people probably be millionaires and entrepreneurs. A lot of people would have been very successful in a very early century. Let me get to what I'm saying here. Now, white privilege has been going on for centuries. No doubt about that. That's been going on for centuries. And the thing about white privilege is that it began when the Europeans came to this country. The Europeans, their attitude was take everything, don't care, we share it. Now, they tried to understand the land. Let's keep it real. The Native Americans didn't really have to share their land. They didn't really have to do that. They didn't really have to teach the Europeans how to live off this land, because a lot of Europeans have died of this land when they first colonized. Now, put it this way, if there was no such thing as white privilege, white people and Native Americans probably would still live in this country of what we call America. The Native Americans probably had their own government system. The white people will get along with them. They might be like confrontations and war, but they wouldn't be where we are today. And also, there wouldn't be no slavery either. Now, if they do need workers to help them to build United States, how come they didn't pay those slaves? They told the African people, hey, if you want some money, you want to live a different kind of lifestyle, come here to America. We will pay you. But once again, if you look throughout history, Africa enslaved their people too, in tribes and etc. But, like I say, white privilege goes deeper. So white people decided to have slaves instead of paying hardworking people. Now, there have been immigrants from different continents that did came to America and worked, and they wasn't slaves, they just worked, but they were getting paid low wages. Then also, the white Europeans have constantly taken Native American land one by one by one. And everybody has known the famous Trail of Tears. Everybody knows that. And it's a very sad, devastating history. There's a lot more devastating things about the Native Americans what they had to go through at that time period. My point is, Zach, that white privilege have always been in this country for a long time. Now, for you to say that black people been having babies at the woodlot and drop out of school, you need to stop watching the news and start reading articles, and you need to start looking at positive African American people. Now, the people that I'm assuming you're talking about are the ratchet black people. And there's ratchet and across America. There's ratchet people everywhere. So it really doesn't have a color bind. But what you're talking about are the ratchet black people. The black people that are not full aware of their actions. Because that's what they always know. And for you to say that black kids have single parents and that's the reason why they're acting the way they're acting, let me tell you something. A lot of people around the world have single parents, moms and dads. Not just black people. Even Asian people. Okay? Asian Americans are very quiet with their private life. They don't tell it to the whole world. That's why people barely hear anything about them. And that's why they don't want to bring it up, because it's like, it's none of your damn business. Which I agree. You really don't have to bring your business up for anybody to know. You know what I'm saying? So, secondly, sometimes when a single parent take care of their children, those children come out great. Okay? And some children who have moms and dads end up not being so great. Ain't that ironic? That's not always the case. That's just some cases. But really when it comes down to it, it comes from parenting, good guidance, and positive energy and attitude towards the child of a parent. If the parent doesn't show good guidance or positive energy to a child, of course that child's going to fall off course. It's going to follow the wrong crowd. It's going to listen to people that are not truthful and shady. It's all about parenting. Single parent or not, it's the way how parents raise their child become what they are. And not all black kids drop out of school. I don't care what your statistics say. Those, I'm guessing, that sign up for child support, food stamps, or social services, or government assistance. That's how people know how many single mothers are in this country. I don't give a damn what statistics says. Because there's so many people in this country are single mothers and fathers of all color, okay? Now, you're saying Asian people are the most successful people or eligible people in America. Well, that's because of two things. One, it is true that Asian people in all color race do work very hard. But also it's because white people are more closer to Asian people than blacks, because whatever the way how they were raised, Asian people don't look as a threat like black people do. Let me ask you something, Zach. Have you ever looked in the news and see any news about Asian people? Now, most people think that's a good thing, but I consider it a bad thing, because I know Asian people get domestic violence, abuse, sexual abuse, or rape or murder. You never see it on the news unless the family asks the journalist people not to put it on television. Understandable. But my point is, you ain't never seen none of your people on television. Some of them might go missing. Some might got murdered. But you would never hear it on television. You have to literally look in a newspaper or read it on the internet about something happened to your people. Just like the African American people, we literally have to shout and scream about all the missing black children and missing black people. You know why? Because the media only cares about white people. And that's the God honest truth. That is white privilege. If a white child gone missing, guess what? That child will be on TV in 2 seconds. If a black child gone missing, you will never know about it. An Asian child gone missing, you will never know about it. A Muslim child gone missing, you will never know about it. Because the media makes sure that white people are still on top. That's the reason why we say white privilege is still here. Now, another thing is that a lot of African American people are very successful. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. A lot of them did graduate from high school and college. There are abundance of African American people who done historical things. And not just African American, but all different types of American people that live in this country. So, if you're trying to say that Asian people are doing fine and dandy, you can kiss my left black cheek, because a lot of Asian people gone through a lot of hell in history. I give you credit that you say white people have done a lot of things to many culture people in this country, but they still are doing it. They still are. It's just not on the news. You have to literally read this. White privilege existed for decades. I can't do all the research I want to, but I'm not going to, because you look it up for yourself. There have been history where I don't know what state it was. I don't know if it was in Detroit, but there was a black neighborhood, minding their own business, and they wanted white people to live in that neighborhood. They were forcing black people to get out of their house so white people can live in that neighborhood. They kicked them out, they shoot them and everything. Hell, they burned down the damn neighborhood. This is a real true story. I can't think of the name of it, but this really actually happened. Because they feel like white people should have everything. That's white privilege. Now, on top of that, jobs. Let me ask you something. Why does a job needs to know about your race and gender? You should listen to your elders, because they tell you a lot of history behind a lot of stuff that the government does that it fools you. One of my residents told me the reason why they have that is because companies want to make a balance of minorities and whites. Because I guarantee you, and I'm not saying all companies, but I am saying some companies might hire all white people if they could. They would not hire anybody else but white people. So they have to know your ethic. and your gender. Remind you women have to go through a struggle. All color women had to. The women's right movement. They had to go through a struggle because white men felt like women should just bear children all day and all night. And it's still having the same mentality with that stupid clown in the White House. That women are nothing but a sex object and they're nothing but produced and that's it. That's not right. So, white privilege has been going on for centuries. For centuries. It's not something that is brainwashed either. So, put a little history. Black people try to get a job. But white businesses, and this is the reason why the Labor Department had came around and your labor rights. Because many minorities were trying to get jobs, especially blacks, and they couldn't. The reason why they couldn't is because white owners only say whites only can work. Whites can only do this. Whites can only do that. If you look throughout the history, white privilege has been going on since the day of time, since the settlers of the colony people been on this damn country. It's nothing new. It's been going on for centuries. And the reason why some, and I'm going to separate two white people, you got the real white people and you got the white white privileged people. Those people are the prejudiced people. The real white people, they understand the history behind everything that's going on in this country. They're not going to deny what's happening in this country. They're not going to deny what's going on in that damn White House. The privileged white people you're talking about, those are the ones who are prejudiced and don't want to acknowledge of the history or educate themselves about a lot of backstory behind the reason of this phenomenon. Racism was an idea, and I can't remember the guy's name, but it was an idea British man. The British went to Africa around I think 1700s or 1800s, around that time. And they were trying to live peace and harmony with the African people. They were trying to live together. But they couldn't. Because somebody killed the African, one person killed the British, and it just kept going back and forth. Well, this one white guy decided to write not true evidence at all, but just write stereotypes about African people, Asian people, Igloo people. He was just writing stuff in his imagination, what these people are made of, what kind of animal they're made of. It's crazy, right? But racism was an idea thing. It was never scientific of this is how people are. It was just imaginary thought to make somebody else feel good about their self. I always tell people that racism, I really do believe, is called jealousy and envy of somebody else. Because nobody wasn't born to hate or be prejudiced at all. Because when you're born, you don't even know what color skin you are. Let alone you don't know what gender you are either. So racism was a freaking idea. And it was all because somebody was jealous or envy or don't understand somebody else's culture. And that was the problem with a lot of Europeans at the time. And to this day, it is still kind of like an issue because a lot of white Americans, not all of them, but some of them just don't want to learn or pick up a freaking book and read about the history about each and different cultures. That's how I know so much about different people. Let alone talking to somebody, you might learn something about them. The problem is people don't want to open a book. They'd rather listen to the television or somebody on YouTube and that's it. No, do your research. Read, find out. I find out cocaine was from some island, and a white man took this cocaine powder from this island, and you know about Coca-Cola, the pain medicine for your teeth and stuff like that. That was coke. But people became addicted to it, and it ended up being a drug. And, you know, like most black people say, we didn't bring the drugs in our neighborhood. Of course not. It was the white people that brought the drugs. They're the one that was experiments with all kind of weird shit. But anyway, I'm getting off a little topic here. But basically what I'm saying is that white privilege has been going on for centuries. And it's still happening. Now, you saying that Democrats brainwash people to believe there is white privilege. Let me tell you something. Hatred makes people believe. Racism, like I say, is an idea from a man who didn't understand anything about different cultures. He just imagined something about it, right? Hatred is brainwashing. Love and understanding, it sets you free. Okay? Now, what I'm getting at with you is that you're saying that black people should shut up and be quiet and don't say anything what's going on around their community and what's going around themselves. If a police officer shot a black man, you're basically telling black people to be quiet and shut up and don't say anything. He probably deserve it. No. Evidence. Police brutality with black people, minorities, and LGBT people have been going on for centuries. Okay? This is nothing new once more again. Nothing new. White privilege basically wants you to get ahead of the other person. Let me back it up a little bit about the baby in the woodlock, because I want to make myself very clear about that. Not every woman expects to have a child. You know what I'm saying? And then also on top of that, you don't know if these women were raped, they were molested by their own family members. You don't know what happened. Well, a lot of women that had pregnancy, accidentally or purposely, it doesn't matter, or a tragedy incident. Most women who have babies at the woodlot, you don't know what's going on with them. You have no idea what happened to them in their life. And then also, kids who drop out of school, you don't know they have an elderly parent they have to take care of. A lot of children these days have to drop out of school so they can support their families, or they might just, give up. Who knows? But you really don't know what's going on behind closed doors. That's why I say screw your statistics. You really don't know the reason why people do what they do. And you don't know why most people come out being single parents at all. You don't know. You don't know. Okay? Like, seriously, you don't know. White privilege has been always there. My thing, I'm thinking of, you really haven't experienced of being discriminated by a white person. I don't think you ever have been. If you have, please let me see a video, Zach. Because I don't think you really have been discriminated by a white person. I tell you for a good story. Or discriminated by, period. So, when I was in high school, I ran track and field, right? Me and my friends went to a McDonald's. This was here in Virginia, and it was somewhere up in the mountains. I can't remember. But we went to McDonald's to use the restroom. There was this big old white man. Wasn't too big. He was like 5 foot something. And here was this big black guy. He was like 6 foot something. Mind his own business. He's sweeping the floor. This white man over here eating. The next thing I know, he keeps saying, not the N-word, but he kept saying some racist slurs to the black guy. But he was pink and red like he was scared half to death that the black boy was about to beat his behind. But he kept saying underneath his breath. And me and my friends were shocked and stunned because we never come across anybody who was prejudiced. Not no white person, because all the white people that we hang out with are respectful and kind to us. We never encounter somebody who's white and being prejudiced. That was the first time we ever experienced that. And he kept on saying racial slurs. Then he got up and he was real nervous and he kept saying racial slurs again. And then he just walked out the door. The black boy was looking at us. We were looking at him. We were all confused because the black boy was over there sweeping, minding his own business, and this white man was eating his, I think it was breakfast, I'm not so sure, but he was eating his meal, and it's like, what the hell just happened? And then I had another incident by the Asian woman. I went to the mall with my friend. This happened like years ago, back in high school again, or getting out of high school. I like to go antique shop stores. So I walk into a store. Me and my friend were just looking around. This Asian lady was following us everywhere in this store. I sit there and I told myself, somebody would have stole a whole bunch of stuff by now in this store if that lady would stop following us. She did. She followed us all the way when we got to the exit. She told us have a nice day and turned back around. Because the media portray as black people as thieves and we steal and we lie. That is not true. I don't think every white person is racist. No, I don't. Because a lot of white people are not racist at all. A lot of them are not. So why does that some people in this planet think black people are the most evilest, devious people on the planet? That's because the media makes sure they have a number one enemy. Just like Hitler, if you look at his life and, history about Hitler, that man was a Jewish, that man was poor, and he got tired of living the hard day life. He wanted to live rich, but he had this hatred in his heart about who he is. Because I'm assuming he got picked on or whatever. I'm not so sure. I can't remember. It was years ago. But what I'm trying to say is, only the Hitler to rise in power, he had to have an enemy. And that was Jewish people. That was Jewish people. And it's the same thing with the main media. They had to find an enemy, and that is black people. Now, granted, black people do steal and rob and kill. Same thing with whites. Same thing with Irish. Same thing with Germany. Same thing with Scotland. Same thing in Russia. Everybody does the exact same damn thing. Everybody's a thief, a drug dealer, a crackhead. I don't care what you are. Everybody has done a criminal act on this planet. And black people ain't the number one face of it. I'm going to tell you that damn much. So many people around the globe does this every single day, including Asian people. But the media won't talk about other colored people. They'll only say Asian or black people. Now, Asian people might come a little bit, but black and Hispanic people, they come up a lot. And white people came a little. But let me tell you something. The main media always portray black people as evil, sadistic people. And that's kind of sad. Because not all black people rob. Not all black people steal. And damn well not all black people want to murder people. Evil does not have no color. Evil doesn't. Evil does not have no color at all. Evil is just evil. It just attacks people and do harm to people. So, I'm about to finish this one video, and I'm about to bring my next topic. But Mr. Zach, I think you should do a little bit more digging about white privilege, because it's still going on. It's still happening to this day. And let me tell you another thing before I cut it off, because the video is kind of long already, that if you notice, which I don't know if you read or not, there have been a lot of hate crimes all over America towards Muslims, towards blacks, towards LGBT, towards women. Anybody who is different and who is not fake, or they consider it white privilege, meaning prejudice. And if you're a straight white male who's prejudiced, because I gotta separate my two white people, you are safe. But if you are damn different from everybody else, you are a target. I don't care what you say. And I really don't believe Asian people have it good. I really don't. Some Asian people probably are suffering. Some might be living a good life. But don't fill yourself with hot air in your head thinking that African American people are not doing anything. Because African American people did great things in this country. It's just, if you want to look in your history book, a lot of white people took the credit of a lot of African American inventors. Okay? Put this in your head that the African American, my ancestors, the slaves, built that White House that clown is in. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say is that African American people did astonishing things around the globe. Same thing with your people. Asian Americans did great things around the globe. Native Americans. All colored people around the world did great, fantastic things. But white privilege makes sure that they brainwash or try to brainwash every freaking culture and say, no, white people invented that. White people had done that. White people did this. Because they want to make themselves feel good about themselves. And that's sad. They should just equal the price of each person had done a good job inventing, creating, and helping people and healing the planet or healing people. But white people want to be on top. They want to be on top so bad. So this is where you get that white privilege from. They make sure in the main media doesn't talk anything good about different colored people or LGBT. It's always negative. Every now and then they talk about good news, but not a lot, because that doesn't give ratings. And I think that's sad if people want, and I know a lot of people don't, but if that's the case, that some people just want negative news, they don't have to look at the television. They can just walk outside and find something happening. So white privilege has been existent since the dawn of time, since they first footstep in this country. They have degraded people. They have treated people who are different really badly. Not to mention the disability people too. Disability people got it worse. They were thrown in asylums. And I didn't know this, but my uncle's girlfriend told me they were sterilizing them too, so they won't have children. Now you're like, what does that have to do with white privilege? White privilege means at that time, I can do whatever I want, but I won't let you do what you want to do. I have the right to take over your body, your rights. That's what white privilege means. And try to be honest, when you do a job application, I think they should get rid of the gender and your race. Because why the hell you need to know my race and gender? All you need to know if I'm qualified to work real hard and come to work on time. So Zach, I hope I hear a response to you. But one more final note. You should walk in somebody's shoes before you say anything about somebody that you don't even know. I don't know you personally, but when I'm seeing your videos, I think you should dig a little deeper to find the answer. Because sometimes answers are not always crystal clear, and sometimes the answers are not always simple. They are very complex. And the last time I checked, around the world, everybody's struggling. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants fairness and good health and education. Everybody don't want to live poor. They don't. So, I hope you respond back to my video. I do apologize if it's very long. I hope you watch the whole thing and see my point. Bye.